Hey guys, welcome back. Ow. Okay, today is not my day. Not even close to my day. I keep hurting myself. Today we are going to be getting into a dress, or I guess this top pattern that I've been working on. I have a bit of a sore throat, which is why I've been so delayed in the videos. It's been a long 2 weeks. I've been sick. The kids have been sick. Kids have been emotional. I've been emotional. It's just been a whole to-do. So I've waited to get this done because I really did want to start jumping into videos more often. So today we are going to start working with the explanation and the sizing. I'm going to break down the chart very easily for you and very quickly, so you can go get yours on my blog. It's going to be linked down in the description. And we are going to learn a couple of different variations. I made one solid, I've made the striped, and I've made the rainbow. And this is the pattern we're going to be working on specifically today. So it's a completely repetitive pattern, and they're everywhere, these pretty little diamonds. They're all over it. I've made the duotone for my daughter. My other girls have the tops like this. Very similar to mine, although I added more detailing in mine. Larger surface area to cover. So we're going to be going into all of that today. All the fun stuff. How to add the skirt, how to fan it, and how to open this pattern up to keep the diamond shape as you're expanding. You're going to want to know all those details, and those are going to be coming in both videos 2 and 3. I broke this down to make them short and a little bit easier for you guys to follow, so bear with me. This one's a little bit longer because of this intro. Now that we are ready, I am going to grab my hook, a good pair of scissors. You won't need a needle just yet unless you want to sew in your ends immediately. The color options that I chose to use to make this rainbow dress. I'm choosing to do this one particularly. I'm going to be making it in the duotone. If you wish to make the rainbow version, I made it in the different sizes with more rows. So depending on how long your torso is going to be and on the size you're going to be doing it, you're going to be working in either rows of 3 before a color change, rows of 4, rows of 5. For my size, it's 5 rows. Where you're going to be joining it is obviously going to be depending on the size that you want to make, the completed size you want to make, and if you're going to be doing, like I did, a completely backless, which these are, they're backless, or you can do in 2 panels, front and back, and make it like this. Yes, I made mine with a back because I like to have straps, and having things tied around my neck is very heavy for me. Needed coffee. All right, let's move on. So to get started, I grab my 5mm hook. I get a slip knot on there. Put your finger in and twist once. Okay, now grab the long end or the top string. Pull. So get it onto your hook. And I won't be doing this. Most of the filming is going to be done of my hands. I'm just popping in here to show you that I'm working with this right now. But we are going to be switching to the hand camera, and we are going to get right back into this in a moment. So right here we're going to be starting with our base chain. Make sure you have your +4 standing chain in there because we are going to be working into the 5th stitch with a double crochet. Yarn over, get into the 5th stitch from the hook, yarn over, pull through 2 twice, and continue to double crochet across. Be sure to double crochet into the back post of every chain all the way to the end, and once we reach that final chain, we are going to chain 1 and then double crochet once more into that final chain. For this particular pattern, seeing as it ties around the neck, I've made the beginning a little bit smaller. However, if you would like to mimic the one that I am currently wearing with a larger neckline, then just increase it for your pattern by 4 stitches. Now for the next row, in the same color, we're going to chain up 4, We're going to yarn over, turn your work, and create 2 more double crochets into that chain 1 space. And this is going to be our increase, as well as our edging detail on the side, as well as working up our pattern. So we're going to chain 1, skip the next 2 stitches. We're decreasing in the point, work into the 3rd stitch, and double crochet. And from here on, we're going to double crochet into the next 5 stitches, so 6 total stitches, working across the center of our neckline. And this is how we're going to create the diamond peak. If you've worked on the diamond granny square before with me, then you know what I'm talking about. You've practiced this pattern before, only you've done it in a circular motion. So chain 1, and then we're going to 2 double crochet back into the chain space at the other end, chain 1 more, and work into the 3rd, not the 4th chain space, leaving 1 chain space between the first double crochet of the previous row and that standing chain that represents a double crochet. And by doing this, we've also created, or began creating, the next 2 peaks for our next 2 diamonds. We're going to repeat this by chaining 4 again and repeating our pattern. So 2 more double crochets into the chain space, 1 into each of the next 2 stitches, and then 2 more into the next chain space. We're going to continue decreasing the size of the middle diamond, and of course to do that we're going to be chaining 1 and skipping 2 stitches. And we're going to end up with only 2 stitches in the middle set of these 6 stitches, 6 double crochets with another chain 1 space. And we're going to continue to increase and decrease the sizes of these diamonds, or the size of these diamonds, until we make our full shape into the right size that we need. Continue repeating on the opposite end with 2 double crochets in the chain space, 1 in each of the 2 following double crochets, and 2 more double crochets into the final chain space before chaining 1 and double crocheting into the 3rd chain of the turning chain. For this part, you can either make a seamless, or I call it a seamless join, but you can call it an invisible join to change your color of your yarn depending on the size that you are making. Remember, for your multiples, you're either working in multiples of 3, 4, 5, or larger. I chose for this pattern to just work with the tails and let them hanging out, and we're going to join using a slip knot and a double crochet into the top turn, or the previous chain, so the last stitch that we worked. Chain 1, work into that corner chain, double crochet into the next 6 stitches, as well as into the final chain, or the next chain space. Now that our middle half diamond is completed, we are going to chain 1 and skip the 2 final stitches. There's 2 middle stitches. I've been getting really tongue-tied, sorry guys. Make sure you chain that 1 and you skip your space. And then we're going to mirror what we did on the opposite side, and 2 double crochets into this chain space, 6 into the following 6 stitches, as well as the last 2, a chain 1, and a final double crochet. Now, if you notice, this is a pretty repetitive pattern, so let's get into it and let's get it moving. I also find it great to watch shows, particularly Gilmore Girls, so in case you're wondering what's going on in the background and why I voice over, it's usually Gilmore Girls or true crime documentaries. So this is the end of our first color change row. And we're just going to continue working up our pattern. Let's get into the next row. If you've opted for a larger size, then you're probably not at your changing point yet, which is okay. I'm not, because the project that I'm working on to be on video right now is in a solid color, so I'm going to be working many a row in the pink before we switch up colors. Now that these rows are initially done, I wanted to take a moment to show you my original idea. And I wanted to keep this pattern as simple as possible for you because I know how hard it can be to struggle trying to get many copies of a pattern made, in my case for myself and my kids. So my original idea was to color change following the pattern. However, it didn't work out that way, and it made it incredibly difficult to join, and having so many tails hanging out that I thought it would not be worth it or would not be considered an easy enough pattern for my beginner stitchers and my beginner crocheters. So I decided to simplify it, and we are doing basic color change. Now for this row, if you notice, you're working in increasing and decreasing diamond shapes. Well, we are going to be adding in new diamonds, so we're going to be multiplying the number of diamond shapes that we are going to have throughout the piece. For every 3 increased rows, you are going to be adding a new diamond. So we're going to be going from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 until we get to our finished circumference and can join. Let's continue like this until our next color switch. Here's the green. If you would like to make a variation, you can also try by making this into 2 different panels. So you can have a front and back identical with no backing. Not everybody wants to have a backless halter top or a backless dress. So you do have the option, of course, to make it into 2 individual panels. And you can even use buttons or crochet your own string ties to attach at the neck. You could turn it into a pullover top or just get creative. Like, honestly, I had a lot of fun trying different variations with this pattern. It was incredibly easy, and because the gauge is, so simple and straightforward, it makes it incredibly easy to modify it in so many ways. So if you have made your own modifications, I would love for you to share them. If you can't share them here, share them on my Instagram, share them on my Facebook, share them in my shops. Let me know how you did it. I would love to see, and I would also love for everyone else to see what you did. Sometimes we just need inspiration from an outer source, and we are a great community together. Being a crocheter and a crafter has taught me that the community and the craft and the art community is an amazing place to be. There's so much support, so much love. I just adore it. Now we're coming to the end of this video. I told you I wanted to make it as short as possible, even though I find it still pretty long. We're going to end at the end of at this row, or at this color. In our next video, we're going to be doing the join for the back, the join for both panels, as well as the edging and any extra details. Skirt is coming in the 3rd video. So stick around, guys, and I will see you next week.